It's a lot of different tools combined, and it basically gives you an energetic blueprint as to how you function, right? It gives you a map of who you are. Human design helps you in setting the right foundation for your business. It really boils down to being authentic and being your true self, so you can leverage your talents and strengths rather than trying to fit in someone else's box or formula for success.
Welcome to the Societygal Podcast, where trailblazing female entrepreneurs and creatives come together to spark change and build their dreams. This is where your passion meets purpose, and together, we're crafting a future where everyone has the tools to succeed. Welcome to the Societygal Podcast. We are so excited to have Giulia here with us today on the podcast, our special guest, and to talk about human design and experimenting with a way of being. We've had an amazing discussion before this podcast, and I cannot wait for you all to hear what she has to share about this topic that you may not be familiar with and maybe want to explore. She's really going to bring in some insight into human design, and we're so excited to have you. Giulia, can you go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Hi, Dana. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. So I'm basically a holistic life and business coach for women entrepreneurs, and I help them stop working from a place of burnout and misalignment, and then help them create a business that feels good, right? And create their own version of success. Definitely human design is a big tool that helps me with that. So yeah, I'm excited to dive deeper into that with you today.
Awesome. And then what kind of got you into using human design as a tool to help others with this? So where did you start with that? Where did you start exploring with that? Where was your interest?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've always been passionate about astrology, like since, 15 years, 20 years, something like that. And as you may know, human design has a big component of astrology, although there are other tools and disciplines involved in it. Let's say that I've always been interested in anything that supports people in having a better self-awareness, better self-knowledge. Usually the more esoteric or the more holistic the tool, the better for me. I'm very attracted by this type of tools in general. Human design is something that I came across, I would say like 4 to 5 years ago. So it's like a pretty recent discovery of mine. But yeah, since I discovered it, something in me clicked. It made so much sense for me. And I was like, I have to dive deeper into that. I have to study that. So yeah, at this point, I give private readings as well as infuse some human design in my coaching packages. Yeah.
I love that. And how long have you been coaching for?
I have been coaching for the past 7-8 years. First, on the side, while having still one foot in a corporate world. But yeah, long story short, let's say 7-8 years.
And then human design, I'm sure that study probably brought a lot more to helping others, which we're going to talk about a little bit more. Yeah. So what is human design for people who don't really know or are curious about this topic? And how can it take everyone's business to the next level? How do you help people take their business to the next level with human design, with that tool?
Human design is a complex tool. So it can feel overwhelming when you pull up your chart and say, oh my God, this is me. What are all of these symbols, colors, arrows, and numbers? Oh my God. It is a complex system, but it really gives you very concrete and tangible and applicable insight and suggestions, basically. So this is what I love about human design. Yes, it is very complex, but also at the same time, it's very applicable. And it is a combination of different disciplines. Astrology is a big part of it. You need your exact birth data to have your chart, right? So when you were born, where, at what time. And also, it has to do with the chakra system. Okay, it has to do with the Kabbalah system, with quantum physics. So it's a lot of different tools combined, and it basically gives you an energetic blueprint as to how you function, right? It gives you a map of who you are. The idea is that the more you know yourself and the more you are aligned to yourself, the more flow you will experience in your outer reality. right? The main idea behind the external reality is actually a reflection of your internal reality, right? So the more in tune you are with yourself, the more authentic you are, the better. You will encounter less resistance in life, you will encounter less obstacles, and things will just, flow easier for you. And obviously, it's not a magic bullet, but it is very useful when it comes to really knowing yourself more. And obviously, this can reflect in your personal brand as well, especially for solopreneurs or creative entrepreneurs. We are our business, right? We bring so much of ourselves into our business in how we show up on social media. You can imagine that the more aligned you are to yourself, the more authentic you are, the bigger will be the ripple effect in your business. This is, in a nutshell, how I think human design helps you in setting the right foundation for your business. It really boils down to being authentic and being your true self. So you can leverage your talents and strengths rather than trying to fit in someone else's box or formula for success. This usually doesn't work. It definitely didn't work for me. So I also speak from experience here. Yeah.
And when we think of mainstream wellness, I'm thinking of history, right? Let's say in America, mainstream wellness is everyone was thinking of, maybe not even thinking of their body, but eventually people started thinking their body. Oh, why is my body acting this way? Why is it painful here, right? And even just recently in history, people were like, oh, my mind. Oh, my mental health affects my body and my body affects my mental health. And that's like recent mainstream wellness. And so when I see human design, I love how you said it's all different practices, astrology, chakra, quantum physics, like all these different things in one, because we're so complex as human beings. And that's why I love to say it's human design, because we're not just a body that feels things. We're not just a mind working by itself. There is a whole other level to us that a lot of us just overlook. And that's why we're so unaware, because we're not really digging into the complexities of humans, which is why I love this topic.
I totally agree with you. And something that I find very fascinating and also kind of challenging when it comes to human design is that it is an experiment. Right. So it is said that you don't have to logically understand human design. You have to embody it. You have to play with it. It's also said that, before you really decondition from your false self, this is human design jargon, I know, but I will go into that. Basically takes 7 years to really decondition and really embrace and embody your design completely. Like, should you accept the challenge, right? But so it's really something that, yes, you can understand on a logical perspective. Okay, I am a manifesting generator, so I am X, Y, and Z. I'm more keen towards this. This is how I function. This is my strategy. This is how I have to respond. Cool. But then, the next step is really to apply that, to see what resonates and experiment with that, because it doesn't have to be some cookie cutter advice that you should be doing this. If it doesn't sit well with you, there is no point. It's called also the science of differentiation. It doesn't have to be another tool that puts you in a box. It has to be something you play with, experiment with, and take what resonates and leave what doesn't, but really embody that. Because human design is really, I would say it's a body-based tool more than a mind-based tool, right? So it's crucial that you get into your body to understand from a body perspective your chart, your human design.
Yeah, you were talking about that earlier. Prepping for this podcast was labels and how comfortable labels are for people to be like, I am this, which we're going to talk about the types of human design in a minute. But I am this type, or I am this Enneagram, or I am this, and they almost let it dictate their whole life. They identify as that, they see one thing, and that's who I am, and I can't be anything else, and this is just who I am. That saying of this is just who I am because of this label and this label is opposite from what you're saying, which I love how you said experimenting and embodying, just like flowing with it and being aware. It's all about being aware. And we're changing beings. We're always changing and developing and growing. There's not stopping. We all have different stages of life, different growth periods. So we can't just be one thing, one label. I think labels are really dangerous, don't you think? And I think you even find that danger in human design And so,
yeah, totally.
right.
And yeah, this is also why, I mean, there's always people who just want one reading and then, they're good to go. But I think the most interesting thing is really for people to approach their chart with the reading and then, try and take more out of it, so coaching, for example, or maybe get a second reading, get a second opinion, so to speak, from someone else, some other human design expert. The important thing is to really take what feels right, what sits well, and not just say, well, I'm a projector. The common advice is to, well, I shouldn't be working 8 hours, right? I know a bunch of projectors who are workaholics and they are happy about it, right? Not one size fits all. There are so many elements in a chart, and a human design expert, consultant always needs to give their own perspective, give their own experience. It's not a science at the end of the day. Just take everything with a grain of salt. It's interesting for people to get multiple readings and see how people really approach their chart, what type of energy they convey while they give you the reading. So it's really interesting. And yeah, I always suggest to not just stop with what you have been told by one human design coach, consultant, or whatever, but just really experiment with that, read about it, get other readings and play with it, experiment.
Proactiveness, right? Embodying being proactive and continually developing your skill set and knowledge about yourself and for other people. Yeah. So can you give us an example of a client you've worked with that the knowledge of human design really helped them in their life and their business? That we can, kind of hear from you on how that was applied from there.
Yeah, sure. There's a bunch of different examples. So on top of my mind, there was a client who was a projector, right? And projector are around like 20% of the world's population, and they are basically the guides. They are non-energy beings. This doesn't mean that they don't have to work and that they don't have energy. It means that they don't have a sustainable access to energy, mental energy and physical energy, because their sacral center, it's not defined, meaning they don't have this consistent energy. They have to rest. They can have peaks of energy, but they have to rest. They have to, relax. They're not the doers. They're not the workhorses. They are here to guide people because of their wisdom, because of how they really see people on a very profound and deep level. They are here to guide energy beings, right? For example, the generators and the manifesting generators. So long story short, this client of mine was a projector, but she had a startup. She was like in the first, 6-8 months working on her startup. And obviously, right, it's really hard to tell someone who is just starting her own business to say, well, you are a projector, you should rest and maybe work a couple of hours a day. So what we did together is we really understood and worked together in defining what was her zone of genius, like what really came easy for her, how she could leverage her strengths, right? And not only in terms of guiding others and seeing others, but also, other stuff and other tasks related to her activity. We came up with a plan for her, not a strict plan that she had to follow, but really just, roadmap, an idea in terms of what were the activities and the things she could do, what she could leverage. So basically her routine changed. She learned how to delegate. She learned how to have powerful conversations with her co-founder and the people she was collaborating with. She learned how to set some boundaries because at the end of the day, she was a projector. So it wasn't really recommended for her to work 15 hours per day. She had to also embrace the fact that, hey, I need some downtime. I need some alone time. And there were also some elements in her chart that suggested that she had to spend some time on her own, that she had to rest, that she wasn't, meant to be social all the time and every day, right? So we made some tweaks on her schedule and also on how she embraced the energy and the wisdom that she had instead of just trying to continuously being someone else, like forcing herself to be a generator or manifesting generator in this go, go, go modality, which was not really in her zone of genius. Right. So a lot for her changed, to be honest, not only in how she was perceived by her colleagues and this other co-founder, but also her routine changed, how she felt when she ended her days. She was way more relaxed. She wasn't feeling anymore that she had to complete like 2,000 tasks, but she was really more focused on the things that really made sense for her, that came natural for her. So yeah, like a bunch of things actually shifted for her.
Really helped her be like a leader, an effective leader. And again, not all leaders are good to be doing everything, all the things, hands and everything. I love how it helped her understand that she could be a powerful leader with not working 10 hours a day. She works better at guiding people, like delegating, right? She can be that guide, and so I can guide the people that are doing the tasks for her. So it's really amazing that just took her to the other level, and where she felt so good to be doing the work that she wants to do, just in a different way where she's not doing everything, and help her find her zone of genius. And how amazing it is just to have like those few tweaks of how you show up in conversations, how your schedule is, that can make a huge difference in your life. They're really small little changes that build into something really big. Hey, this is Dana from Societygal, and I wanted to take a quick break to tell you about the Societygal Academy, the exclusive membership that helps entrepreneurs like you launch, grow, and scale your business. Join weekly expert-led workshops, access to on-demand courses, and connect with a supportive network of go-getters just like you. Are you ready to elevate your business? Visit Societygal Academy today.
Yeah, that's amazing. And this also happens in coaching. It's really the small transformations that make the biggest difference. Oh, I could change that, or maybe this habit, or this thought, or what would happen if I were to implement this new thing, right? And the ripple effect is huge. So we don't have to always be focused on the big changes, and because it can feel that we are so far away from who we want to be and where we want to be. Whereas if we just take the first step and the tiny little things and tweaks, then things will most likely quantum leap without us even noticing.
That's why I like how you say embody it, embody your design, embody the curiosity, the experimentation, like embody it and become it now, because I love that idea of you can become who you want to be right now, right? If you just take the actions, like if I was this person, what would she do right now? Like that same thing. What would that person 10 years from now do right now? What are those actions? What does that schedule look like? And when you take that right now, those are those little steps that are already you becoming who you want to be right now. So that's why I love embodying that right now, becoming that right now with those small little actions makes a huge difference. So let's dig into human design. Can we go over the 5 types of human design? Just so people can understand what you were talking about. You bring up different human design types, and I think it'll be good for everyone to understand what those types are, so that it kind of like lights a light bulb in someone's head. They might want to go research it and talk to somebody about it. I think it'd be great for you to explain.
Yeah, we have the projectors. The projectors, as I was saying before, with the example of my client. So it's the guides, the consultants, the advisors. Usually they are great coaches. Their gift is to be able to see others and make them feel seen, known, and recognized. They know how to manage their energy. They can also offer a new way, to energy beings as to how they could approach success, and a new way as to how they could work and basically leverage their strengths and leverage their energy, right? Projectors are not doers, as I was saying before, and their strategy, because to each type there is a specific strategy, right? The type is basically how you function on an energetic level, and the strategy that is intertwined with it basically tells you how you should navigate life in terms of how you should co-create with the universe, right? And the strategy for projectors is to wait to be invited before they can actually share their gifts. What can happen is a projector who sees people so deeply can give unsolicited advice, right? And people don't respond well to that. The projector needs to wait to be invited to share their wisdom. They cannot just share things for the sake of sharing it. They don't have to initiate. They don't have this energy for initiation, right? They are here to wait to be seen and then be invited to share their wisdom, right? So these are the projectors. Then we have the generators. Generators are the people who are here to work, the builders, the doers. What makes them generators? The sacral center that I was speaking about before, right? So they have this consistent access to the life force energy, the creative energy. So they are here to work, basically. They are here to bring things to life and to become very good at what they do, become masterful at what they do. Despite the fact that they have this huge energy, because of their sacral center, their strategy is to respond. And to respond doesn't mean that they have to be passive. It just means that they have to wait for something that basically sparks their sacral response. The sacral response is a gut response, right? So before they do something, they really have to wait for something to spark their gut response before they actually go and do that. They don't have to just, think something and then just go out and do that, okay? They have to wait. And generators really need to follow their joy. They need to follow their passion, because if they do work that they don't like, this can really easily bring them to burnout, because their sacral energy will basically like burn itself, right? So it's really crucial for them that they first off wait to respond, and then always trust what really feels like a yes to them, rather than do things that feel like a no. But maybe, their mind tells them, well, you should be doing that, if that makes sense. Then we have the manifestors, and manifestors are actually the people who just can go out there and do the thing. They don't have to wait for anything. They don't have to wait for the invitation, wait for signs from, like the universe. They are the innovators, the trailblazers, the initiators. They have an idea, they have a download, and they just go out and do that. They have a very powerful presence. They can feel very bold. Yeah, maybe also kind of aggressive, so to speak. But yeah, it's just who they are and the energy that they bring into the world. They are great initiators, but they are not necessarily great finishers. Their job here in the world is really to get the ball rolling and to inspire other people. They have this type of initiating energy. Their strategy is to inform people, because otherwise people will not be able to understand what they're doing, and they will be kind of overwhelmed by their strong presence. So it's crucial for manifestors to inform other people about what they're up to, what they're doing, what they're about to do. This doesn't mean they are asking for permission. It just means they have to give people the idea or the feeling that they are in the loop, right? So they're not completely in the dark, not understanding what's going on. It's really crucial for manifestors to inform people before they take action. That's the only thing they have to do. Then we have the manifesting generator, which is a hybrid between the generator and the manifestor. And basically, which is my type, manifesting generators are the multi-passionate people. They have this very creative force that is not meant to be directed in one single thing, right? Or one single project, one single career. Very often, manifesting generators are having different careers or different businesses. They have this curiosity that always needs to be fed. They get bored quickly and easily. The challenge I see with manifesting generators is that they are perceived as flaky. But the fact that they are so curious and powerful in terms of being able to find shortcuts and being very fast in what they do, that's actually their superpower. So whenever a manifesting generator tries to put themselves into a very narrow box, problems arise, right? Manifesting generators are really here to experiment different things, and really change and evolution are very, very important to them. The important thing to say is that at their core, they are generators with some manifester energy. Their strategy to navigate through life is the strategy of the generator, meaning I have to respond. I don't have to directly initiate. I have to respond to life before I commit to major decisions. But at the same time, I can apply the informing strategy of the manifester in order to encounter less resistance from other people, right? Since, we are a hybrid of the manifester and a generator, we have to combine the two strategies to be more in flow. So it's really responding and then informing other people so that they can understand what is going on. Otherwise, we move so fast that people can lose track of what's happening. These are the 5 types, and their strategy. Obviously, there will be so many other things to touch on. But this is just to give an idea, and maybe, listeners can be intrigued enough to look up their type or say, oh, yeah, from this short description, I think or I guess that I am a manifester or a projector. So, yeah, that's the distinction of the 5 types.
Thank you for explaining that. It's a great, at least a good overview of winning, like, oh, am I this or am I this? And I love that. Even just that little understanding is really cool. It makes you so curious. Hopefully everyone listening to this is so curious to go and research your type and get, talk to someone about this.
What is your guess about your type?
My guess is probably maybe a manifesting generator. I'm very multi-passionate. I like the manifestor, definitely. It spoke to me a lot. It's just because I initiate things, delegate it, but I'm also very multi-passionate. I have like 3 different businesses. So.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. That's interesting. That's interesting. So yeah.
I'd rather initiate it, delegate to somebody, and go on to the next idea. And that's my genius zone right there. Awesome. So we're talking about human design. How can someone, where is the best place to start for somebody? Let's say they're curious and to learn more about their own human design. What is your recommendation on where should they start to even start applying this to their life and their business? So that's a lot. We're talking about a lot of things here.
I think it also depends on how they learn best. For example, what happened to me is I came across a post from a coach I was following online. She was talking about, some struggles that she was having with her being a manifesting generator, and how, when she discovered human design, everything clicked for her. And so I was like, this is something that feels right to me as well. I'm experiencing this type of challenge as well. I'm multi-passionate. So I basically, entered my birth data. I got my chart. Obviously, I didn't understand much, but I got this little description. But then I was like, I have to get a reading. I have to get a reading from someone who can explain the whole system. I'm very curious, and I understood it was based on astrology. I have a solid foundation about astrology. Most efficient and smart step for me would be to get a reading. If what this other person tells me makes sense and feels right, I will probably go into the rabbit hole and read all the things about human design online. And that's basically what I did. I got 3 to 4 readings over a couple of years. The first thing I did to see if the system resonated with me was to see my chart, to read a couple of things, and then okay, this makes sense, but I really want someone who walks me through my chart. So I basically got a reading. With me being a manifesting generator, so I'm very quick in doing things and in making decisions. If something really sparks my interest, I'm on that thing and I want to learn more. And obviously there are people who have a slower process when it comes to their decisions. Maybe they just want to read all the things that they find online, or maybe they go to Amazon and buy 3 books. It really depends. I think that people should really tune into themselves and say, okay, does this tool really attract me at this point in my life? Am I more a person who loves being guided, or would I rather research on my own, read 3 books, and then see how I feel? And I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but I think there is no right answer, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, being open to it. I mean, a common thing that you're saying is being open to the knowledge you receive. And what we talked about before in the prep call was about like, don't let it put you in a box, which you talked about before. Like, don't read one thing, let it put in a box. And I think that's just like the practice you need to go into this with. Be open and continually to learn. And like you said, you got multiple readings. So like continually developing your knowledge on it and reassessing, getting different perspectives on it is just the process. It takes multiple years to really understand where you're at and fully understand yourself. Take that knowledge with you when you go into this. It's a longer road and it's something you're going to embody. It's not just a one and done therapy session. It's a lifestyle change. You're changing your lifestyle now, just like, you're now living that. It's not just a one and done thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's important to feel into what feels right for you when you're taking that first step, right? And maybe people will be inspired by our conversation and they will do like I did. And some other people will approach human design back in 6 months from now because they need more time for that. So it's all good.
Yeah. And I do a lot of podcasts on here. I talk to a lot of people about marketing, business success, business growth, and scaling. The top thing we talk about is to be yourself, be aware of who you are and take actions from within instead of looking outward. That's a common practice across the board of people who are successful and that what they do, it's because they're more aware of who they are. If this is something that you're listening to and you're like, this is going to help me be more aware of who I am and embody who I am, please really dig into it because that's going to be the source of success. The business and the dreams that you have and the life that you want is going to be understanding yourself first above everything else, because everything else will flow. The actions you take, the decisions you make, everything will align with you. And that's, we want our life to be aligning and to our relationships, our business. So I love this conversation because it will spark a lot of people's interest to understand themselves better.
Totally agree. I agree with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being on and sharing your knowledge. You're so knowledgeable about this subject and bring such a great presence to this podcast. And all of her information is going to be in this podcast. Please, yes, look on her website and everything, but really connect with Giulia. I'm sure, Giulia, if you want to tell us any other way to connect with you, any projects coming forward or anything, any experiences that you want to share of how people can work with you, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, people can connect with me on Facebook, on LinkedIn. They just, type in my name and they will find me easily. They can, send me a message. They can click on a link that I will share if they want to have a conversation about human design or coaching. Lots of ways to connect, and I'd be happy to support people further.
Awesome, Giulia. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.